Hello and welcome to another tutorial. My name is Tom on Discord and on Cables. My name is Pandor, and today I want to talk about exporting patches automatically or via command line or from the shell with a tool called cables.gl. So this was another request, or this was a request by a user from Jan. Hey Jan, thank you for having actually a request. So if you want to see different topics, this is another really nerdy one. But if you want to see other topics, maybe about graphics or HTML or whatever, let us know and then we will do them, because we really appreciate having feedback and know what you want to see. So today it will be about exporting patches. So this is the first video of a few about exporting and embedding and using the HTML and working with HTML and so on. So this is the very first one, and this is about exporting. So as you probably know, we can go into a patch and click the export option and select download HTML. And then we will download a zip file. So this zip file contains static HTML of our patch. So we can upload this to server, send to a client, or do whatever with it. But this is all a manual task, right? I always have to click and download and move all the files and so on. So it's a really manual task, but you can automate this, and you can automate this using cables.gl. CLI stands for command line interface. So the shell is a command line. So with the shell or with your command line, you can use this tool to automate. And how this works, I will show you now. So cables.gl is a little tool that we wrote. It is also a npm package. So to install it, you can run this. You need to have installed Node, and probably comes with npm. And you can just go to your command line and run this command. And it will probably look different for you because I already had it installed, but this is how it looks. So I installed this cables.gl, and now I can just run this command. Maybe you have to restart your terminal afterwards, but I can just type cables now and it will tell you some error message. So let's have a look. Let's have a look at this page. So it gives you an explanation how to use it. So we can use cables -- export, then the patch ID, and then the destination. So I am in a folder called tutorials CLI, and it's empty right now. So now I can, let's just use it. So I can enter cables -- export, and then the patch ID. So the easiest way to do this is you just go to your patch and you just copy this last bit of the URL. That's the patch ID. You just copy this and insert it here, and then the website says destination. So this is the destination path. So I would just export this to my patch. So when I do this, it will say no config found. So this is when you execute it the first time. You have to have an API key. So this is because not everyone can just access your patches. That would be bad, right? So for cables to know who you are, you need an API key. So you go to cables.gl and create an API key. And for that, we go to settings, and there's a tab called API keys. And then you can give it a new title. So maybe this is your automation for a specific project, or for a specific server, the API key. So you can give it a title so that later you remember what API key you gave for which project. So let's just call this tutorial and click create, and then it will create a key here. And I can click the copy key button, or I can show it, but it's not that interesting. So let's go back to our shell and just paste this API key in here. So this is like a password to your account. So don't make it public. Try to not show it to other people that you don't trust. So because this API key can do stuff with your account basically. So let's put it in here. So, and then the cables CLI tool will remember this API key for the next time, then it will not ask, and it is saved in this file here. So that worked. So it's requesting an export, then it's downloading. This is basically downloading the zip file, and then it's extracting the zip file to the path tutorial CLI my patch. This is because I entered destination my patch, and now it created a folder called my patch. And if I go in there, and then we can have a look, it's the same data that we had before in the zip file. It's the same stuff. So that's really handy. So we didn't have to click, so we can just execute this one command and then have it here. So this command, so now I just updated it. So this command we can also put into a shell script. So I can create a shell script, update.sh and just paste this in here and then make this shell script executable. Oh no. This way. And now I can do this, just execute this, and then it will update a file. So I use changemod. This is a Unix tool. It works on Linux and on macOS. On Windows, you probably want to create a batch file. I don't know. And that makes this file executable. And then I can just run this little script. And then it will always export this, the newest version of our patch. So this you can also do on your Linux server, for example. If you have a Linux server with the command shell, with the root access, you can do that here, there. But we can also do other stuff with it. So for example, let's look at the patch that we exported for this. So if I open this patch in the browser, it will not work. It will give us an error. And this is because we just try to access the patch via a file URL. And this way the browser cannot just access all your files on your hard drive. That would be bad, right? So there's a security rules in the browser that prevent doing this. So for seeing the patch locally in your browser without having like an paid web server, we have to run a web server on our local machine. And one way to do this is with another NPM package that is called HTTP server. And this is a really, really handy little tool. It is, you can run it with npx HTTP server, and then you don't have to install anything actually. So now we go back into our CLI patch, and we have this this folder my patch here. And let me just move my script to this folder. So let's have a look at this. So now we have my CLI folder has this update shell script and my patch, which contains the patch. So those are the folders that we are working with. And now in this directory, I can run npx HTTP server and then my patch. And then it will serve the files from this folder to a local server. So when I execute this, you see it will start up, and then it will tell you like the local address in your local network or on your local machine. So I can just use this one and open this in my browser, and then I see the patch. So this is the same patch that we see here. I can now see on my local server run. And this is really handy because now I can go to my folder and edit the HTML file, for example. So I can go in here and make changes to it. So what you can change here and what makes sense we will do in the next tutorial probably. But I can just make some changes here. And now I can go back to my browser and reload this, and then I will see this change. I will see hello. And so now I can locally just edit this HTML file and make changes to it and play around with it. What we can do, we will learn later, but I just want to show you the workflow. And now, so now we realize like that there's something wrong with this patch. I want the color green and not blue. So I can go back into my patch and change the color to green, for example. Just save this patch. And then I will go here and execute our little update script, which is here. So now it will update, will download a new version of this patch and execute it. So when I reload this, it's still blue, but the hello is gone. So this is another really funny thing with browsers and web servers. It's called cache, and sometimes it's a little bit annoying. So open your DevTools in your browser. On Linux, it's done with on macOS. On Linux, it's done with Command Alt J I, and this will open the DevTools, and then you can go to the Network tab and click Disable Cache. This way, always when you open your DevTools and reload something, it will reload without cache, which is really handy. Which you all like when you're developing, you always want no cache because you want to see your changes, right? So that's a little bit annoying, but those are like the pitfalls with browsers. But yeah, so if we enable this, then we always see the new version. So when I go back here and make a new version, which is orange, and I will save this, and then I will run this shell script again. And now I reload it, then it will be orange. And the little change that we did, the hello, is gone. So this is because the export will always override the index.html by default. But because we have this problem a lot, so we often have like for clients, we use this on a server and we have like our index.html, then there's something custom in it. So we change the index.html. When exporting, we don't have it overwritten, right? So you can do this with an option. So there's a few options for the exporter. So for example, you don't want to extract the files, or maybe you don't want the assets or not minified code, all the stuff you can use as parameters. But we don't. We want the parameter no index. So this will not include or override the index.html. So this is just -i. So I go to my command line and edit my update shell script. So right now it's -export patch ID -d my patch. So I can now insert -i here. So now when I run, so now let's again edit the index.html. Put something in here. Let's have a look at it. It's there now. Now I will update again. That's the edit. I want to execute the update again. And now when I reload, you see the hello is still there, but the patch didn't change because I didn't change the color. So let's do this. Let's also do this. Change it back to blue. Update again. And now I reload here. My hello is still there and the patch has updated. So with this setup, I can just execute this script and it will update my patch in my HTML file. And I can still work with the HTML file and make changes to this. And that's really handy. So often we have a web server where we just put in all the files, and then we always do updates for the client to see. So we have a preview server, and then the client can see what changes we made. And we just execute this, and then they see the new version of the patch. So we work on the patch until it's finished, and then we will just send them this on our servers, and they can have a look at it. And that's really handy. And you can also think of, maybe there's a bigger change, I will make a new version, I will make my patch version 2, and then I'll have like a little history of all our little preview prototypes that we sent to the client. And that's really handy to do. And you don't need to send them or invite them to the patch or make the patch viewable, because then you can still work on it, and you have this version that's lying there and that will not be changed. And yeah, that's super handy. Yeah, this is the command line tool of Cables, and I hope it was not too confusing. If you have any questions, let us know, and see you in the next one. Bye.